Randy Orton says he's glad Vince McMahon is gone. We've got a couple of Vince things coming up. So, this was to Bill Apter, in fact. Vince McMahon, he had Raw on Monday Night Live. He doesn't care if you had kids. I came to him when I was 35 and my back really started going, and I pleaded with him like, man, I got to not do as many shows, maybe do half the tour and be able to recover. And he just looked at me and was like, oh, I need you on these shows, Randy. Mother Nature gets us all. And to hear that and go, okay, well, I guess there's no other thing I can do other than just wear myself out to the nub until I can't walk anymore for this man. And all of the opportunities he gave me, it's nice having him out of there, and it's nice having his son-in-law Triple H running the game. Nick Khan's great, everybody at TKO that's come in and stepped in, they seem to get it, and it's just a different era. I think the way that they care for talent nowadays and make sure that talent's good, and if they need a little bit of a break, we're only human, they get it most of the time. So, pretty bold statement decrying Vince's, and quite frankly, a lot of promoters' belief that essentially you need to run a wrestler into the ground and then shoot him in the head once they're done.
They all believed that. And years ago, Bill Watts, we just got through talking about how long the trips were in Mid-South territory. He didn't give a crap. He said, well, hell, if you want a job, you're going to do it. If we need you there, I don't care if it's 500 miles between the town. I'm not flying you, so figure out how you're going to get there. So you'd have to, 500, that'd be a extraordinary shot, but 300 was normal. But, they didn't care. And Vince didn't care either. If you got hurt, you just got hurt.
Do you take it as like an insult if you ask to it's my kid's birth happening, can I go?
Oh, don't ask that. Don't ask Vince that. We all have birthdays. That'd be his answer. You should have planned for this or whatever. You knew it was coming. Why didn't you ask off? But sometimes if that was in the middle of a tour, you couldn't ask off because now you're breaking it up. But Vince was very, I'm sure Randy is glad to see him gone. And I'm glad to see him gone too, really, not just for that, because I don't work for him anymore. But now the ideas are totally, totally different. You can watch WWE now and you watch it, and now you see how they've spread all these stories out. It's not just one guy. It's not Roman anymore by himself and a partner. Now they got other stories down lower, almost all the way down to the first match. Because every match has a little bit of an edge on it that means something.
Is that how you booked back in the day? Because I've heard two different versions of this as far as booking is like you only really give stories to, let's say, the top half of the card because if everybody has a story, then it gets lost in the shuffle. But then there's like a Vince Russo thing where he would actually try, whether it worked or not, he would try and give everybody something to do. Where do you rest on that booking theory?
Well, I like to give everybody a story if they can handle it. Some guys are too green to carry a story, but they can wrestle. So put them out there and have them wrestle their butts off. And then when they get more experience, then you can give them a story. Say Puerto Rico, I just had angles in the top 3 matches. But they were in depth. I could spend more time on them. The first match, second match, third match, I just wanted a winner. Go out there, give me a hell of a match, is what I would tell them. And you go over or you go over. And if it was the heel going over, guess what? Would the heel cheat to beat him? No, he just beat him. So the fans are sitting there, they get a finish. And it's not pull a gimmick out and hit the guy and the referee don't see it. That's the cheapest way to do it because then the fans feel cheated, I think. So, and I used a lot of green talent, starting out talent. So they weren't experienced enough to do a lot of stuff. So I just called it as straight as I could because I didn't need it really anyway. Because when you start trying to call like layered finishes or layered storylines with green talent, you can't do it. It's going to get messed up. So if you know that beforehand, don't even start it.
We've talked about this before, right? So, and you know this very well. At some point, Vince McMahon didn't want to focus on a Steve Austin or a Hulk Hogan as the star because then they have too much power and then they can make concessions and demands in their favor. Vince always wanted WWE, the brand, to be the star, and whoever shows up, shows up. With that in mind, what would be the problem in giving someone a day off or a week off? Because if Randy Orton doesn't turn up into one town, then it's not that big of a deal because they don't. I mean, I'm sure they promote some cards in advance and stuff like that. But if someone's not there, they're not there, and WWE's the star, and we'll catch you again next time.
Well, Vince did not like substitutions. I know that. Because what was advertised should be there, and I agree with that. Because some people may have come just to see Randy Orton, and all of a sudden he's advertised, but then he's gone. So, but if he asked with enough time, there was no reason for him not to get the time off. And Vince, it surprises me to see that he would gamble, good relations with talent just for one day. So I'm saying, and he was a butthole. He was an asshole. So but I've seen people get hurt, and I've seen he'd be advertised, and all of a sudden they announce at the beginning of the show, ladies and gentlemen, we're not happy to announce that so-and-so will not be here tonight. You're going to get some booze right away. And then you tell them why, and taking their place will be so-and-so. And you just get through it like that. It's not the end of the world. I mean, Randy Orton, if he was the main event, it'd be something else. But I guess he was the main event back in those days, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Randy's. In fact, I'm going to give you another example I'd written down here. So Randy's one thing; he's going to be at the top of the card, and as you say, some people are going to be there to specifically see him. Sean Waltman once told the story. This is when he was the 1, 2, 3 kid. It was like 94, 90, whenever it was, 94, I think. He once told the story about asking for a day off to go to his trainer Boris Malenko's funeral, and Vice President of Talent Relations at the time, J.J. Dillon, told him to get stuffed. Basically, you need to stay on the road. We need you. And like, he's the 1, 2, 3 kid. He's at the bottom of the card. He's in the opening match. Bless him. At that time, no one was buying a ticket to see him specifically. It'd be nice if he was on the card, but no one would have missed him. But it's like, I think his response was, why did they feel the need to just beat us into powder? Why break? It's almost like the Marines. You've got to break your spirit.
I think one of the reasons was, well, you do it for one, you got to do it for everybody.
We'll do it for everybody then. That's the thing.
But they didn't. And they weren't going to. You can ask, here's my saying, you can ask till the cows come home. They're still going to give you the same answer, no, unless Vince okays it. Now, and I agree with Randy Orton. I'm glad that a guy like Vince that has power like that, because a child's birthday or a funeral, a child's birthday comes around every year, but maybe the guy will be working somewhere else next year. But a funeral, he's not going to die but one time. So he wanted to show his respects, and they said, no, that's a little cold. That really is.